Do you believe in the dollar, an American currency, as the both should and will remain the world's reserve currency?
Yes, 100%. You know, I love this question. It's being every week I get called by somebody saying, "What do you think Russia's doing with China, with Brazil?" And I say to them, "How much of the money you're a fiduciary of are you putting into any of those economies or any of their currencies? Would you even own a single Chinese yuan? Would you even bother with that? Would you ever manage money and take other people's money and invest it in a Chinese currency?" The answer is never. And so you think about the reserve currency of the earth, every commodity trades to the U.S. dollar price. So my largest asset is U.S. dollar denominated. So the stocks, the bonds, the real estate I own in America, I trust because it's a democracy that has its incredible power across so many large sectors of the economy that everybody else on earth, no matter how much they point at it and say, look at all the faults America has, ask them where they put their money.
Okay.
And the answer is always the U.S. dollar.
So the argument that I've heard and that I find holds merit is the following. The belief in the U.S. dollar is the belief in both the U.S. rule of law and the custodial responsibility of the Federal Reserve. Those two things, as long as they continue to maintain trust, is what underlies the U.S. dollar. There's nothing more anymore. It's the United States military, I guess. It's the concept of the United States of America. And of course, to your point, no, I'm not going to replace that with China or with Russia. Because if we're grading on a curve, we're still the best when it comes to those things of rule of law and civilizational foundation. But the argument that's been made is we have eroded that. The Federal Reserve has eroded that trust. They continue to print money over and over and over and over and to devalue the dollar. The rule of law in America is not something that is as strong as it once was. And if that's the case, the argument is less that, okay, well, the world moves its currencies to the yuan or the ruble, but it just begins to fracture up. And where once we dominated, as being the currency of trade, maybe now it's instead of, I don't know what the numbers are, Kevin, you will. Instead of 90% of trade, it goes down to 60%. And some of it's done over here, and the BRICS do their thing best that they can, or whatever it may be. Or maybe crypto. I'm curious about what you think of crypto. But that would be the argument that I've heard is like, quit trying to make it the dollar versus X. It's the dollar versus X, Y, Z, and 1, 2, 3, all taking little bites out of the belief in the United States of America.
It's a great argument, and you're making very valid points. The same points that were made back in 1975 about the U.S. dollar. But here's what it boils down to. The dollar itself is a piece of paper. It's built on trust. Any currency from any sovereign is their trust that you have in their nation and their ability to maintain their GDP growth, even an oil-rich nation in the Middle East. But when you ask, let's say you're a sovereign in the Middle East and you're making $260 million every 12 hours. I know the country that does that, all right? I work a lot in the Middle East. Where do they put it? Where does it go every day? It goes through New York into the S&P 500 by 10:05 in the morning, into the American economy, the only market on earth that can absorb that much money and not even move the needle. Why? Because they trust it. And they have lots of alternatives. They could trust the Chinese with their supreme leader. Could they invest it in Venezuela? How about Cuba? How about France, where they go on strike every weekend? The only other country that even comes close to the trust that the American economy has across the world, even its enemies would rather have U.S. dollars, is Switzerland and the Swiss franc. The economy is not large enough to absorb that much capital. Plus, they don't want it because they've been under such scrutiny. So, whether you're Russian or whether you're Chinese, you have a hard time opening an account in Switzerland anymore. Everywhere else is secondary. And this is not because I'm kumbaya, I'm the U.S. I watch money flows every day, billions and billions of dollars. The U.S. is a giant black hole. It sucks up all the free cash because simply nowhere else to put it that you trust.